Hi everybody, my name is Jeremy and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a recap of the very first ever drag convention in Los Angeles. I went on Saturday the 16th. We did not get the 2-day passes because the Sunday was going to be slightly shorter than Saturday. I'm going to be uploading a vlog soon of our adventure there, but because it was my first ever convention, I didn't vlog too much. I was just really focused on being there and the experience, and I think I was just a little overwhelmed by the sheer mass amount of people that I just forgot to pull out my camera and vlog, though I did see plenty of other people vlogging. So if you want like a first-hand experience from someone that's holding their camera as they're walking around, there were plenty of people that were doing that. So since it was my first ever convention, I wanted to set some goals for myself. I knew that I wanted to spend no more than $100 on any kind of merchandise. I wanted to see, and I needed to see, Pandora Boxx and Trixie Mattel. Anybody else that I saw beyond that was a bonus. And I knew that I wanted to buy Jessica Wilde's I Love This Drink shirt. I love this drink. And I wanted to buy one of the Trixie Mattel tank tops. It gives me all of the life. So when we got there, there were a lot of people, but parking was really not bad at all. And as we were pulling in, we actually pulled into a space that was right next to Kelly Mantle's car, because she drove in, parked, and then we were like looking at her like, is that Kelly Mantle? We got out, we went up into the LA Convention Center, which was much bigger from the outside than it was on the inside. Maybe it was just the space that we went into. So we went up the escalator and we went into the convention center. We got our badges, which looked like this. We got our badges and we waited in line. It was really huge, and there were a lot of really fierce people that were dressed up. There were a lot of people that were cosplaying, which was a thing. Part of me wanted to go and paint, but because I'm kind of novice and green at it, I decided not to, and so I just admired all the people who did come out and were dressed up. I don't know how some of those people made it through because they were in heels that were this huge. I am not lying. There were some crazy ass people there who probably have swollen feet today. The very first queen that I saw was Pandora Boxx. I was really excited. She had this cute booth that was set up like Alice in Wonderland, and she had this really cute dress on that looked a lot like Alice's dress in a very Pandora Boxx style. Then we saw Milk, and she was living for my hair. As soon as I walked up, she said, "Come on, hair," and she's like, "Come give me a hug." And it was everything. Milk is so tall. She had this black glittery beard and it was so fabulous. I normally don't like when queens do beards, but the way that Milk does it is just so high fashion that I just love it. She had cotton candy and she was like eating through all of her interactions, and it was everything. We were walking around a little more and I noticed that Trixie Mattel had a booth, so I decided to jump in her line, and it was really enormously long, but I knew that it was going to be worth it. So I waited, and I was probably in that line for a good 45 minutes. I was probably 5 people away from her when she had to leave because she had to go to a makeup tutorial thing that she was doing with Tatiana. I almost said Tiana. No, not Disney. And that was going to take about an hour, and she said she would be back. So I decided that I was just going to wait. Jacob ended up standing in my place for a little bit so I could walk around. I caught a picture with Sasha Belle, and I really actually love Sasha Belle. I think she's so funny. I think she's really immensely talented, and I think that she just didn't know what to do when she got on the show. Like, I think she was just so big of a fan of the show that when she got there, it was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? I lived for Sasha Belle though, so it was nice to see her. So flash forward another hour, and Trixie did not come back at 1 o'clock like she was supposed to, and we ended up finding out that she was at a Comedy Queens panel. And we didn't find this out for about 20 minutes until we were standing in line. I was in front of these really nice ladies, and we were kind of chit-chatting throughout our time waiting there. We found out that Trixie was at this panel, and they were like, oh, she'll be back soon though. Just kidding, she wasn't going to be back until after a signing that she was doing at 2. So at this point I had already been standing in this line till about 2 o'clock. So I was like, I'm not going to leave line. There's already a huge line behind me, people that are still waiting for her to come back. I'll just stay. Then it got to 3 o'clock and she still wasn't back because she still had a lot of people in her line at the signing, so she wasn't done yet. So I was like, okay, I'll keep waiting for her to come back. So then Jacob stood in line for me again, and Jesse and I wandered around, and we went over and we saw Jessica Wilde and we saw April Carrion. So I went back and I waited at Trixie's booth. Trixie is my favorite queen from season 7, and I was rooting for her the entire time. If you haven't been listening to our podcasts, then you wouldn't know, but I just live for Trixie. So finally at 4 o'clock, 4 hours of waiting, she showed up after her signing and everything, and she came up and she grabbed Jesse and I and she apologized profusely to us because she knew that we had been waiting. She remembered our faces and she said, "I feel so bad for you two. You've been waiting here this whole time." And she's like, "Come on over, we'll get a picture." And she's like, "But let me eat my broccoli first." She had these like little sticks of broccoli that she was eating, and she fed one to Katya. So we took a picture. She took me back into her Barbie box that she had set up, and we took a picture inside of it, and it was it was so worth the wait. It really, really was. And she was so sweet and wonderful, and I want her to go great places in the future because she is so talented. Then we kept moseying, and I saw Mrs. Kasha Davis, and she looked absolutely stunning. We went over to the other side of the convention center so that we can kind of look around to see what was on the other side, and I found a makeup booth that I wanted to get some stuff at because the products were really inexpensive. Morph Brushes was the company that made it. I got a set of cream foundations, and I was using these to, I'm going to be using them for contour and highlight. And then I got some powders, which are also lovely, and then I got this set of colors. Look at all these friggin' colors, and this is matte, so that's what made it really sell for me. They had some shimmer ones, they had regular ones that were not matte, but I really wanted the matte ones. Literally, these two sets, the contouring powder and the foundations, were $15 each, and the color was only $20. So I pretty much got a fantastic deal. We saw that Alyssa Edwards was kind of close to that booth, so we decided to jump in line for her, but I saw Morgan walk by, and I decided to stop and talk to her for a little bit. And she's just flawless and beautiful every time that I see her. Morgan is just, she's everything. And then while we were waiting in line for Alyssa, I saw that Pablo Hernandez was around the corner, and he's an Andrew Christian model, and he's just really gorgeous, and I thirst for Pablo Hernandez. I wanted to touch his butt so bad, guys. And then we got even further in the line, and Lucian Piani walked by, and I saw that other people were taking pictures with him too. I have a huge fat crush on Lucian, so I had to get a picture with him. Then finally we got to the front and we got to Alyssa, and it was $5 to take a picture with her, which is totally fine because it's Alyssa Edwards, and she, I don't think, has performed in California. And if she has, I haven't heard about it. So I wanted to make sure that we saw her, because if we didn't, I don't know when we'll ever see her again. The moment I walked up, Alyssa clocked me. She's like, "Baby, do you do drag?" And I was like, yes, what gave it away? And I told her that I didn't do it very well, but she said that we all start somewhere. And it was really encouraging, and it was nice to just get to meet her and hug her and just be close to the Alyssa Edwards. And then as we were getting to that last hour of the evening, Jesse and I ran into Jocelyn Fox, we ran into Ivy Winters, and Ginger Minge. And there were a couple other queens that were wandering around that we didn't actually get a chance to stop and grab. I saw Jasmine Masters earlier that day, and I chit-chatted with her. I saw Willem in passing, and he had just had this huge line and was making circles around the whole building. Overall, DragCon was really fun. There were some awesome products there, and I wish that I had some more money because there were some dresses that were there and some makeup products and just general things that were so cool that I really wished that I could have gotten. But it was such a fun experience, and I hope that any of you who are watching this got a chance to go. And if you didn't, I hope you get a chance to go next year because it was super, super fun and totally worth the money and the trip. Next year, if we get to go, if they do it again, I really want to try to meet Rue and Michelle because they had their own panels and it cost extra money to go see them. So I definitely want to try to see them next year if we get a chance to go. And there are a handful of other queens I'd like to see and maybe get a picture with. But it was just so fun. It was great. Thank you guys for watching. Bye!